Hey, Al, I know you're really excited about the show today and the Lighthouse review. I am too, but do you think we can turn on some color here and maybe fix the aspect ratio? I don't think it quite works for this. Al?
What?
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 What? What? What?
What?
What?
What?
What? What? What?
That's the problem with you!
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
You talking to me?
What? No.
That is one big pile of shit.
Hey, does this Coke smell funny?
Oh, fuck! What's the procedure? Stay calm. Oh my God!
Boy, that escalated quickly.
You're goddamn right.
Good evening, Clarice. Just like old times. I'm Al,
And I'm Peej.
and welcome back to Are You Still Watching? Statistically, 60% of you are still watching at this point. The show where we review movies and shows you can stream from your couch right now. Today, we're reviewing The Lighthouse, which is currently streaming on Amazon Prime Video. And if you want recommendations for great TV shows and movies to stream every week, or if you just want to hang out with us and talk about movies, then hit that subscribe button down below.
Thanks, Al. And very excited to have you guys for today's show. And we have a new sponsor for this show, which is awesome.
Tell them about it.
Yeah, it's actually my brother, Andrew. He's been sponsoring my HBO, my Stars, and my Showtime actually for the last couple of years now. So thanks, Andrew.
Wow,
Shout out.
Andrew, you are probably the biggest financial supporter of the show. Go, Andrew. Yay! This week's episode is about pure insanity. We're talking about characters who have completely fucking lost it. Some of the best characters of all time were completely insane. We're talking about crazy psycho killers, innocent victims of their own hallucinations, uncontrollable madmen, lunatics, maniacs, everybody losing their minds. Peej, what comes to mind for you when we talk about a character going insane?
She fucked Greg!
I think the subject's been done a lot. It's in many TV shows and many movies. And it attracts the best actors, I think, because the changes in the characters' minds really lends itself to great performances. And you see that over and over again with Edward Norton and Heath Ledger and guys like that really take over the film.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like with a character who's going insane, even if you're not playing a character who has multiple versions of themselves that they project, if you're just playing a character who can't get a grip on reality, it does require a lot of talent and it can go off the rails fast. Like, have you seen The Fanatic, the new Travolta movie?
No, I haven't.
So he plays like a little bit of like a nutso guy, but the performance just like isn't, I don't know, it just doesn't do it, fam. That ain't it, chief. So the whole movie just came out because of his like weird performance. The whole movie just comes out as like this super fucking weird, like Terabad movie. So I think a lot rides on a performance when an actor is playing a crazy character.
Exactly. I mean, when the mind transforming is the factor in your movie, it's the whole vehicle is the actor. So you can only go as far as the actor's ability that's playing the role.
However, I will say that when a movie is talking about a character who's kind of losing a grip, sometimes you're just talking about like a psycho, like a character that's displaying that they're totally out of control, totally unpredictable. Sometimes you're talking about a character who doesn't really understand what's going on. And when you have that type of character, my favorite adaptation of that is when the viewer gets to go for that ride of confusion with the character. Like when I, as the viewer, also don't know what the fuck is going on, that makes it extra fun for me to see this character try to figure out what's going on because I can sympathize with them as it happens.
this news story I saw, and I was really pumped about. So Olivia Wilde, she directed one other film. This is her second feature, and it's called Don't Worry, Darling. It's a psychological thriller set in an isolated utopian community in the 1950s in the Californian desert.
Isolated utopian.
And if that doesn't hook you right there, check out the cast. So the cast is Florence Pugh, Shia LaBeouf, and Chris Pine.
Huh. Okay. Those are like a bunch of actors who I think are in good stuff, but I don't think of them as like the greats, but I like the stuff they're in.
I'll watch almost anything Shia LaBeouf. I mean, I am up. I love Shia LaBeouf. I think he's awesome. I think he's insane.
Wait, he isn't dead. Shy surprise, there's a gun to your head, and death in his eyes.
Which goes well with today's topic.
He's easy to support too. He's a good dude.
Yeah, I think we could be friends. And we grew up together. You know, he's on Even Stevens. Me and him and Beans.
True. You seen Honey Boy, by the way?
I have not, but
dude, I can't wait to watch Honey Boy. I'm waiting for it to come out on somewhere where I can watch it for free rather than like the $5. So you got to pay to rent a movie.
Yeah, I mean, we're exclusively a streaming podcast / YouTube show. So
yeah, this is a show.
If it's not streaming. Yeah. But I'm really excited about that because I love Shia LaBeouf and I'm also a big fan of Chris Pine. So excited to see what happens with this film.
You all right, son?
You can whistle really loud, you know that?
I don't know if you saw this, but if you need something in the meantime, because I'm sure that movie's not going to come out for a long time, we have a new Netflix special coming this May that stars yours truly, not me, Jerry Seinfeld. Did you see this?
No. Wait, like a stand-up special?
Yeah, it's called 23 Hours to Kill.
Wow.
It's Jerry Seinfeld's first comedy special with original material since 1998. So a long time coming. Let's go.
Dude, I'm fired up. I'm a big stand-up fan. I put one of our first episodes, I told you that Tom Segura's Ball Hog was going to be on my watch list. The old Seinfeld special that is on Netflix for you to watch. I'm telling you for the last time. That special is so fucking good. You know, like you can watch this old Seinfeld special and just observe comedy mastery right in front of your eyes. Like he's hitting every joke at the perfect time. And his jokes aren't like too extreme. You know, I mean, Jerry Seinfeld's an old school comedian. Don't expect new shit, like all this racy stuff and everything. But just his precision with his delivery is so good. And that's why Seinfeld's a master, I think. Today's movie that we're going to be reviewing is The Lighthouse. But first, before we review the movie, I do want to give a spoiler warning. We stream a different movie or show every week, and we tell you everything we think about it, top to bottom, so we will be spoiling the whole movie in our review. Before we get into that, I do feel comfortable saying that I think we'll both give this one a thumbs up. I liked it, so if you're curious to watch The Lighthouse on your own, then please go check that out on Amazon Prime Video before getting back to our review. And if you want some recommendations for other great movies and shows that you can stream right now, we're going to have a list of our recommendations at the end of the episode. So skip ahead and check that out. All right. The Lighthouse was directed by Robert Eggers. It stars Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. Came out last year in 2019, and it is an hour and 49 minutes long. You can stream it right now on Amazon Prime Video. The Lighthouse is a very contained film taking place on a very small location with a very small cast. The movie begins with Thomas, played by Robert Pattinson, arriving on a small rocky island containing nothing but a lighthouse, where he'll be assigned to work under the guidance of Willem Dafoe's character, also Thomas, for 4 weeks. Willem Dafoe turns out to be a big Mr. Bossy Pants as he begins driving Robert Pattinson mad with his constant and extreme labor demands. Not only does this make Pattinson feel undervalued and overworked, but the thing that drives him the craziest is the fact that Dafoe will not allow him anywhere near the top of the lighthouse. He says that the overnight shift up at the light is captain's work, not fit for someone in Pattinson's position. As Pattinson's resentment for Dafoe grows, so does his suspicion that Dafoe is hiding something dark behind his old, seafaring, pirate-like personality. Now, that seems like a pretty simple plot, doesn't it? Wrong. As the movie progresses, so do we, the audience, progress into madness alongside Pattinson's character as he slowly descends into pure insanity. This guy is out here seeing visions, jacking off to mermaid dolls, murdering seabirds, the whole 9 yards. The fun in the movie comes from the mysterious nature of Pattinson's madness. As a viewer, we are constantly left asking things like, wait, is Pattinson crazy or is it Defoe? Or is it us as the viewer? Is this about mental illness or mythical sea curses? Was that a mermaid pussy? And many more fun mysteries. As the movie concludes, we are left curious as we were in the beginning, or maybe even more confused, when Pattinson and Defoe come to gruesome, untimely deaths at the hands of one another. Peej, what were your thoughts on The Lighthouse?
I had a lot of thoughts, and thank you for that synopsis. That was a really good synopsis.
Appreciate it.
Now, normally the way this show works is we give the synopsis, I'll give my review, we'll dive into some scenes, some deep analysis, go over some trivia, but it's going to be impossible for me to do that without giving away my review, which I announce at the end. So I'm going to skip to my review right now.
No shit. You're going to give us your score right now?
So you know what it is.
All right, go right ahead.
So Al, a few episodes ago, you gave Parasite, what was it, a 10?
I gave Parasite a 10. Not a, doesn't mean 10. It's a perfect movie. I want to let you know, my 10s aren't perfect. Yeah. That just means they're like the best they come.
Okay, so that's what I said. I said, so it's the perfect movie. And you said, no, I'm just the guy that gives 10s.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, in watching The Lighthouse, I decided I'm a guy that gives zeros. I'm giving The Lighthouse a 0.
Wait, what?
Fuck this movie.
You fucking hated The Lighthouse?
I hated The Lighthouse. Oh my God. It was nonsensical dribble. They had these crazy soliloquies about, Willem Dafoe thinks he's William Shakespeare, and then he farts, and then Pattinson goes, okay, sorry, I do like your cooking. It was ridiculous. I thought I was going insane. This movie does a few good things. It puts you right there. I felt like I was there. The problem, it's not a place I want to be.
I think that's the fucking point of the movie, is that you don't want to be involved in this situation. Holy shit. So you hated this. I'm just assuming that a 0 basically means you would recommend to anybody ever just didn't see this movie.
I wish I never saw it. I wouldn't recommend it, and I won't watch it again.
Are you going crazy like Robert Pattinson?
I went crazy.
Right now?
I went crazy watching this movie and watching the ending and how stupid it was.
Listen, people, if you want to hear somebody with reasonably managed brain function speak, then I'll tell you right now, I fucking hate, dude. You're going to make me feel like an asshole. I gave The Lighthouse 2 thumbs up. I liked The Lighthouse. I actually loved The Lighthouse. I could see myself watching it again next year. I'm so offended by your hate for The Lighthouse that I'm like going to build it up even more. How did you hate The Lighthouse?
Listen, I went in with high expectations, and actually the first half of the movie I thought was pretty good and set itself up for it to be a good movie. But you get to a point where, the dynamic between Pattinson and Dafoe, they have every dynamic that you could possibly think of for two people. They love each other, they're about to make out, they're dancing, they're fighting, they're going to kill each other. They do kill each other. It just everything. You go through the ringer here, and then for some reason the film, like I said earlier, they think they're William Shakespeare, and they're given these long monologues, and then they mean nothing. Nothing changes, and it's like a joke. I'm watching the movie and I'm going, is this a comedy? Because he gives us big long curse. I curse the Lord and at these. And then at the very end, Robert Pattinson is like,
all right, have it your way. I like your cooking.
It's like a joke. And then he flips out him and he's like, you farts, your farts stink.
Goddamn farts. You goddamn farts.
Smell like piss. Smell like jism.
He's got this bullshit accent that he's ripped off from Leonardo DiCaprio in Shutter Island, which was bullshit to begin with. And William Dafoe, you can't even understand him.
Okay, let me say, I thought the performances were fucking awesome. I thought they nailed it. I just am watching the movie from a different angle, I guess. That it seems like Robert Pattinson was playing a paranoid schizophrenic, like unaware of what's real and what's not, and very paranoid due to it. And that eventually leads him to kill Willem Dafoe. But halfway through the movie, I started wondering, like, wait a minute, is Dafoe the crazy one? Because he, at one point, Robert Pattinson and him are waiting on the rock, and the storm gets too big for the boat to come take him home. They go back in the house. The next morning, he says, well, maybe they'll come today. And Willem Dafoe says, you've been saying they're going to come today for the last 4 weeks. Do you even know what day it is? And me as the viewer, I'm like, what the fuck? So who's the crazy one? Is it Robert Pattinson who's losing his mind? Or is it Willem Dafoe who's like psychologically manipulating this guy to keep him on the island? Because his old like shipmate, I guess, whatever you call a lighthouse mate, his old lighthouse mate was like killed somehow. Apparently Willem Dafoe said he killed himself because he went crazy, but then Dafoe fucking abuses Pattinson the whole movie. So you're thinking, yo, Dafoe drove this dude to hang himself. That's what happened. So it makes Dafoe this like scary character, even though Pattinson at the end turns out to be the one who's hallucinating the whole time.
Yeah, so I thought that was an interesting, like I said, I did think that there were interesting elements in this story. I just don't think it worked. And I thought it was interesting that this was actually based off a real story about two guys named Thomas that worked in a lighthouse. Yeah. And one guy went crazy and either killed himself or got killed. And then the other guy went mental.
Yeah. And this is actually also a remake. There was an original, The Lighthouse.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I wasn't even aware of that until I was looking up the movie later.
And I will say, I'm against animal cruelty, but that scene where he kills the seagull that was pretty crazy.
Sometimes I like a movie that lets you have the satisfying scene. Like that seagull was so fucking annoying.
Yeah.
And it also sets up like, bad luck to kill a seabird. He says, don't you dare kill a seabird. And then when he's about to kill it, you're like, this guy's about to get some bad luck. He's going to kill this fucking bird.
Well, so here's the thing. I think the seabird was a guy that used to live there, the previous lake housekeeper. Because when he's pulling up the lobster trap and he's got the head in it, the severed head, and then he's like, I know that you killed the guy because I found his head in the lobster. Well, that head has like a defective eye in it. He's got like an eye missing. Oh, and so does the seagull.
Oh, I love that. I didn't even notice that the first time I watched it.
Yeah, so you could think like, is the seabird, is he trying to warn Pattinson? And then Pattinson just like doesn't realize and just kills him and then just like, doesn't solve any of his problems, All
right, so you fucking hated this film, and it sounds like you hated like the story and the composition, of each story beat. But I want to talk about a couple things just isolated that I thought were noteworthy in the movie. First of all, the performances by Pattinson and Dafoe. I think these two guys, they took it all the way there. Dafoe did the scene where he laid down and had dirt like thrown in his own mouth as he's getting buried alive.
Yeah, fuck that.
They took it all the way. These guys didn't hold back at all.
Oh my God, that was painful to watch.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, you don't have to go that far."
Yeah, seriously.
I hope it was like chocolate, fake dirt or something.
But I disagree about Pattinson. I didn't care for his performance. I felt if I cared about his character, this story might have been completely different, but I didn't. And I'm not a Pattinson hater. I really respect him, specifically because of the roles that he's taken after the Twilight thing. He's taken some really badass roles, and I'm like, wow, I can't wait to see him in this. And I always find myself rooting for him because of that.
Yes.
And it never really comes to fruition for me. I don't think he gets it. I don't think he gets there.
Well, I liked his performance for this reason. I think that if we watched the movie again, knowing that Robert Pattinson, the movie doesn't even really admit to you if it's that Robert Pattinson is a paranoid schizophrenic or that he just has this mysterious like mythical sea curse, or if it's like a mix of both. Maybe he is schizophrenic, and because of the stories that Willem Dafoe tells him, he obviously is hallucinating those type of hallucinations. Who knows what his issue is? But Later in the movie, they do admit, after he admits to Defoe that he's been faking the name Winslow the whole time, Winslow turns out to actually be this guy who Robert Pattinson probably murdered, and is saying that like his death was this accident that Pattinson just let happen. Like, it makes me think Robert Pattinson arrived on this lighthouse island trying to isolate himself, knowing that he's like this kind of like psycho and kind of a murderer, or I mean, at the very least, he's cool with letting people he doesn't like just die in front of him. And as he loses his mind, I can think back to the earlier parts of the movie and see almost like fear in Robert Pattinson's eyes. There's one moment when he's like finally standing up for himself for the first time in the film. He's really quiet at the beginning. And when he finally stands up for himself, he's kind of like stuttering and like fumbling over his words. He's really nervous, shaking at the, his voice is shaking. And it's apparent that he's almost like scared to open up or scared to do anything on his own or scared to express himself because he knows that he suffers these delusions. So I could almost see that in Robert Pattinson's eyes. I could see that even when he wasn't seeing any delusions, he still like lives this life of fear, knowing I'm a killer. I see shit, I can't handle anything. Like, and I thought that it did come out in his face sometimes and in his voice.
All I know is if I ever have dinner at Willem Dafoe's house, I'm complimenting the shit out of whatever he makes.
You're fond of me lobster, ain't you?
Does kerosene get you drunk?
Kerosene?
Yeah, because that's what they were drinking.
Oh, is that what they were drinking in the later part?
Yeah.
That's insane. I wouldn't be surprised if that was pulled from some sort of ancient sailor's tale, like the sailors had drank kerosene to get drunk, and that's why Eggers used it. I found a lot of mythology was used in the movie and mixed with real world stuff where I couldn't figure out which real world rules are we abiding to and which mythology rules are we abiding to.
Yeah. This also, reading the trivia, seems like the worst movie in the world to film. I'm sure that the actors were happy with how it came out because it was super artsy. Anything with a different aspect ratio in black and white is immediately going to be like, oh, this is a films critic film. It's so artsy. But
yeah,
but this film, it really, they filmed in the actual conditions, like the freezing rain and all this wind. And then the scenes at nighttime, since they filmed in black and white, they needed like crazy bright lights. And I read that they were so bright that the actors couldn't even see the faces of the other actors. So,
oh shit!
So there's no wonder the insane performances were believable, because I bet they actually did go crazy.
Can I give you my number? And
yes,
just like piss you off.
Oh God, is it a 10?
I'm not. No, it's not a 10. It's not a 10 because
better not
like
be a 10.
When I watched Parasite, I was like, dude, we can start watching this movie again right now. That movie was so fun. I could watch it twice. The Lighthouse was not like that. The Lighthouse was halfway through the movie. It's moving slow. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to watch this twice. But I do put this movie in the A's, A minus-ish, kind of 9.3.
9.3. Okay.
I liked it a lot. So for Peej, it's 2 thumbs down. For me, it's 2 thumbs up.
Would you recommend this movie to like a casual watcher? Like just your average friend?
I mean, here's the thing. I do like doing that. I like recommending really like hard to analyze movies to casual watchers just to see their reaction. Because if let's say I recommend Parasite to somebody and they come back and say they didn't like it because it had subtitles, or I recommend Pulp Fiction and they come back and say that it didn't really have a story, I'm just like, you know what? Get fucked. I love movies. Those movies were great. I don't have to stick to your level. The Lighthouse, I know that you didn't like it, but there are going to be some people who like it. And I think that I would recommend it to anybody, even a casual. And if you come back to me and say that you hated it, then I'll probably just be like, you don't have to take my recommendations anymore.
Yeah, I think most people actually do like this film. I think I'm probably in the minority, especially if you're watching this. You probably like it. If you like the movie enough
you're at
to
least
watch this.
Interested in watching it. Tomatoes was kind of how you would expect. They had a 90 from the critics and a 72 from the audience. So it was a big disparity. I mean, that's the difference between an A- and a C-. The critics love it. The audience didn't like it. exactly like you said, it's a really artsy movie. If you respect the certain small details that went into it, then you're probably going to get more out of it than a casual viewer. IMDb leans toward the audience as well. They give it a 7.6.
Yeah, at least it really wants to be artsy. But yeah.
Well, I mean, money-wise, let's talk money. This movie was made on a budget of $4 million, and the last movie to do that was Moon. That we reviewed.
I bet they kicked the shit out of Moon.
They kicked the shit out of Moon. 18 million.
Oh, holy shit!
That's not
I guess that makes sense.
18 million is a ton made on 4 million. You know, one person can fund a $4 million movie and make back almost 20 million. Are you still watching? If so, why don't you hit that like button down below to let us know that you are still watching our show and that we aren't complete worthless losers. And if you aren't still watching, hit the thumbs down so that we know that you're done.
Great. Thanks a lot, Al. Now, like we said at the top of the show, this story is about pure insanity. So in line with that, we're going to give our Mount Rushmore of pure insanity performances, movies, anything in that topic. You know, you can make the argument for our top 4. So for my number 1 performance about insanity, pure insanity, it's going to be what I think of when I think of pure insanity. It's going to be Christian Bale in The Machinist. My number 2 is going to be a classic. You know, you think of this when you think great movies. If anyone's watched it, they know it's Donnie Darko.
Oh,
number 3,
yeah, I was wondering.
Number 3, another classic. Everybody knows it. Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, Fight Club.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Not much else you need to say about that. I mean, these are hits.
Stick the landing. I'm liking this Rushmore.
Stick the landing. Now, my last one is a little bit ambiguous, but it's there. Lord of the Rings, Gollum.
Oh, dude, that's a great one. I didn't even think of him.
That motherfucker turns from a nice hobbit fishing to a crazy motherfucker.
Hell yeah. Hey, I love that Rushmore. That is a great one. I gotta hit you with mine. Ready?
Boom, hit me.
For my pure insanity, number 1, a dude who is completely fucking insane, a psycho, even though he doesn't really not have a grip, the Joker from The Dark Knight. A fucking psycho. One of everybody's favorite psychos. I don't even got to convince you about the Joker. You already agree.
No. I would have been pissed if you didn't.
Number 2, dude, I'm on your boat, man. Tyler Durden from Fight Club. Hell yeah. Norton is awesome. Brad Pitt is awesome. That is so cool. Wouldn't it be awesome if you were a sexy guy and then had like another even sexier guy as your alter ego? What the fuck? My 3rd, hope you've seen this movie. If you haven't, I highly recommend James McAvoy's performance as like 13 different characters in Split. My final psycho moment on the list. How can a list be about psychos if you don't include Christian Bale going completely psycho on set of Terminator Salvation when he flipped the fuck out on that boom mic guy? Do you remember that?
I'm gonna fucking trash him. Then why are you trashing my scene? I'm not trying to trash. You are trashing my scene. You do it one more fucking time, and I ain't walking on this set if you're still hired.
So Christian Bale could be on this list for so many different. The Machinist, that Patrick Bateman. I did want to comment on Split because that is a movie I had high expectations for. I didn't think the movie was that good, but James McAvoy's performance I thought was amazing. I mean, he literally did like 13 different performances in one role. It's like, this is insane.
Yeah, I thought the movie was like an 8.5, but McAvoy's performance was at fucking 9.9, dude. He crushed it. I have one honorable mention that's not in the rapid fire. I'll give it to you right now. Character who goes absolutely fucking nuts throughout the course of a television show. One of my favorite psychos of all time. Jan Levinson from The Office. By the final season, she is crazy. And to that note, Dennis Reynolds from Always Sunny.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that those people are very sane. I don't know about you, but I subscribe to Serenity by Jan. I have the candles, so I take great offense to the fact that you're saying that she's insane. So
I'm talking about late season Jan when she's singing the song she wrote for Astrid in the room.
that's a
alone.
great song. That's a great song. All right.
Oh man. All right. Do you have an honorable mention for me?
Yeah, so I just want to give one honorable mention. It's for one of my favorite shows, House MD. And the reason I want to give it a shout out is because the main character in House, he goes crazy throughout the whole show, like through
Right.
8 seasons.
He never really has a grip.
Exactly. It's very interesting. Plays a lot on mental illness. Obviously plays on Sherlock Holmes, which took me a long time to figure out. And when I did, it was like, wow, epiphany. Oh. And also Olivia Wilde. We mentioned her at the top of the show. She's
True.
getting into directing. She, got her start, or at least, catapulted from that role. So shout out House.
All right. Well, on that note, Rapid Fire. This is a new game this week. Peej is about to play for the very first time. What's going to happen is I'm going to rattle off just a bunch of movies and shows featuring characters who have lost their sanity, and Peej is going to give us his opinion as fast as possible. Thumbs down, thumbs up, fuck it, go for it. Whatever you want to say, Peej. Are you ready to play Rapid Fire?
I'm ready. Hit me.
All right, start that clock. Here comes my Rapid Fire. First movie,
All right.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Cue it.
Primal Fear.
Never seen it.
The Shining.
Cue it.
A Clockwork Orange.
You can cue it, but don't have crazy high expectations.
Okay. The Show, Dexter.
The Dexter. The worst show that I watched the most of. Skip it.
Memento.
Watch it. Yeah, watch it.
1408.
Watch it. That was surprisingly good.
Oh, cool. Misery.
Haven't seen it.
Shutter Island.
Watch it. Yeah. Mildly.
Cape Fear.
Skip it.
Apocalypse Now.
Way overrated. Skip it.
Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, definitely see it.
Eraserhead.
Haven't seen it.
I've never seen it either. The Babadook.
Haven't seen it.
Oh, we'll get into that one on Halloween time. The Machinist.
Definitely watch it, but careful. It's heavy.
Black Swan.
Definitely watch it. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Taxi Driver.
Watch it.
American Psycho.
Watch it.
One more for today's Rapid Fire, Being John Malkovich.
Watch it. It's interesting. Go into that little crawl space.
I like it. Next time that we play Rapid Fire, I'm going to have to throw in a gaggle of shitty movies that you can burn, because I think most of them I gave you this time were pretty good. Now, every week on our show, we like to wrap up with our final segment being some recommendations for you guys. We'll tell you some great movies or shows that we've watched that are currently available to stream and recommend them to you. And we're going to let you know about a movie or a show that we are currently watching or will watch this week, and we're curious to see how it goes. So a couple weeks ago, my watch list movie was The Platform. It was recommended to me by a friend, but he warned me that the ending was kind of weird. The ending was confusing at first, but the movie was so good, I spent the whole day thinking about it. Definitely would recommend you check it out. My recommendation this week is going to be The Platform on Netflix. Warning, It is a movie in Spanish. It's all subtitles. If you're not a fucking 3-year-old, then you can deal with that and enjoy a good movie. On my watch list is a new show that just randomly appeared into existence on Netflix that is all over their homepage right now. It's called The Midnight Gospel. Have you seen this on Netflix recently?
No, I haven't.
On their homepage, their most recent featured content is called The Midnight Gospel. It's this weird cartoony show that definitely looks adult. It looks a lot like an Adult Swim show from back in the day, and it's by the guys who made Adventure Time. I am a cartoon watcher. I definitely know how to get myself in the right mood to watch some cartoons. So I'm going to be doing that as soon as this episode wraps up. And I'll let you know if that show is any good or if it's complete fucking garbage. Peej, what do you got?
All right. So last week on my watch list was movie called Vice. Came out, I think, 2 years ago. Stars Christian Bale. We talked about Christian Bale a lot. Great actor. So I wanted to watch his performance. I watched it this week, or at least I tried to. I watched about the first 40 minutes and I turned it off. I just didn't get into it. It was a movie that clearly had a political agenda, and I wasn't ready to, go along for that ride. I knew it wasn't going to be fair, so I decided to skip it. Not to
I
get
hear
too.
you. I always think if a movie is going to have a political or social message, that's cool. You're an artist, and what you're doing is sending me messages. But make it entertaining first. Don't have the message get in the way of me enjoying this as a movie.
Yeah, so it was just shoved down your throat, and I was like, I know what you're trying to do, but
Yeah,
whatever. Moving on to this week, what I'm watching is a show on ESPN, a show that I've been waiting for 6 months plus.
On ESPN.
The Last Dance. It's a 10-part documentary series about Michael Jordan's last season as the Chicago Bulls when they won their 6th championship. The first 2 episodes have already been released. Go to On Demand and watch those. And the first 2 were sick. We need sports right now. This is the only sports we're getting. So go inject this straight into your veins.
I am excited for that, and you haven't mentioned that at all to me yet. Super pumped. I got to watch that with you.
Yes, absolutely. You have to do that. Shout out Disney Plus. Hit us up. The Venmo is open. All right, so that's what I'm watching. What I'm going to recommend to you guys that I know you're going to like, that I've already seen, and that we're going to review next week. We're going to dive deep into. It's going to be our first delve into television, which I'm very excited about, because this is also a TV YouTube show. It is very suspenseful, and I'm going to tell you right.
Tell us what it is.
Now, it's The Mandalorian. I can't
wait. The Mandalorian.
Star Wars. So we're going to review the whole first season of The Mandalorian, and then we're going to give our top 4 favorite Star Wars characters of the whole universe. Yes. The whole galaxy.
Far, far away. And my Rushmore is going to crush it again, people. Trust that.
Well, we'll see about that. But before we send you guys away, we want to make sure, if you did like this, if you are still watching, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure you give a little thumbs up. And we will see you guys next week.